How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News, correspondent for Real America's Voice News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining in. Audio, how's the audio testing right there? Let's see if you guys are listening to me correctly and listening to me loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News, correspondent for Real America's Voice News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It is hot. It is nice to say hello to you after we came back from a long trip. We are live on Getter. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. Those are the three platforms that we are live. So we are coming through you to those three platforms. Before I go on, a lot of people complain that they don't get the news. A lot of people complain that they don't get notifications. A lot of people complain, what can I do, Oscar? Please like the button, share the button, hit that bell button, hit that like button. That's the only thing I'm asking. Hit that like button, hit that bell button. That's the only thing. You know, a lot of people say, like, hey, what can we do? What can we do? Hit that like button, hit that bell button on YouTube, hit that like button on Getter. We're live on Getter also. Share this video out. And that's it. It's really simple. This is just go out there and just hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. That's it. I don't get notifications at YouTube. It's because you're not even subscribed. Subscribe to the channel, and you will get notifications every time. Subscribe to the channel. You will get notifications. Subscribe and like the follow button on our Facebook page. You will get notifications. Subscribe to our Instagram, Oscar Blue Independent Media. That is where my manager posts every clip and informative clip. I do lives on Instagram. I post my stuff on Instagram, but also my Instagram, Oscar Blue Independent Media. That is where you get all the clips, informative clips. You guys want to get informative clips, go to Oscar Blue Independent Media. Oscar Blue Independent Media also on YouTube. It's simple. Like the button, share the button, hit that bell button on YouTube, and that's it. Shocking video. We just came back from Central America. We were traveling through two countries, Honduras, two borders, Honduras and Guatemala. We got there, and it was just, for me, it was more amazing what the migrants are saying about their travesties through the Darien Gap and ultimately landing in two other borders. We have visited the borders. We have visited the borders between Mexico and the United States. I have gone to the borders of Juarez and El Paso, have gone to the borders of Arizona and Sonora, have gone to the borders ultimately where my hometown is, Baja California through California, have gone to the borders of Tapachula, also with Guatemala, have gone to the borders of Tabasco with the Gulf of Mexico, have gone to the borders now inside of Guatemala, the capital, and now going to the borders between Honduras and Guatemala, and we crossed to Honduras. Now, I want to give thanks to Guatemala and the Honduras government. First, before we show this video that is going to, I already done this in Spanish, but the American audience needs to know what is going on. The government of Honduras and Guatemala, they were really responsible, honest, and ultimately, not only that, they were extremely respectful to us. So I want to give thanks to the Institute National Migration of Guatemala, the international organizations that they let us into the National Air Force of Guatemala. You guys know how difficult it is to get into the airport of the National Air Force of Guatemala. Even our correspondent journalist in Guatemala was saying, I have tried so many years to get into the National Air Force of Guatemala, and I have never accomplished that. How in the hell did you accomplish it? It was really, it was really nice for these authorities to let us into document, and we had to be respectful to everything that they were doing because they are letting us in to access into to information that we cannot get. Also, the authorities in every port of entry between Guatemala and Honduras, the authorities in the port of entry of Florido. Thank you so much for the National Guard, the civil police, the military of Guatemala. They were really nice. Also, the military in the port of entry of Caliente. Also, another people that they're really nice, respectful, honest. They always treated us with respect and honesty. I don't know what happens after we left. I don't know what happens after we gone. But when we were there, they were really respectful. Now, shocking video. Why shocking? Because a lot of people are going to say, that's not shocking for me, Oscar. We already knew that. Well, when you're hearing it firsthand, when you're hearing migrants from Venezuela, that are the ones that are being denied access right now into the United States of America to claim asylum because of the massive influx. But when you're hearing migrants of Venezuela coming through the port of entry of Honduras, those are the ones that they got scattered and they're stuck coming out of the Darien Gap, and walking to the north of the continent. Those are the ones. And those are the ones that we encountered. And we were asking these particular questions. Questions that nobody has ever asked. Border Network News, Real America's Voice News, Wendy Bell Radio Network, 3 networks that have this first-hand information about this. Statements from migrants themselves saying how much they are being charged by the United Nations to transit. You heard it. The United Nations charging money to migrants? That's unbelievable. That cannot be. No. The United Nations is a organization that preaches to the choir about helping the migrants and helping humanity and helping this and helping that. My God. They're helping everywhere. The United Nations is about giving, it's not about taking. I didn't say it. Alan, thank you so much for the coffees. Thank you. Buy me a coffee. It's on the bottom link. If you guys like to contribute to Independent Reporting and Travel Fund, we're going to be traveling again soon. And to South America. I'm saying it. To South America. More deeper. We're going to go more deeper into this problem. So this migrant camp that is located, there's several migrant camps when they're coming out of this horrible travesty that is the jungle. When they're coming out of this migrant camp, these jungle parts, there are several migrant camps. And there's one that is from the United Nations. But listen to how the United Nations has this process. So for you to get from one camp, when you get out of the jungle to the United Nations, there's a bus. And this bus is charging $3 per person to get to that place, to the migrant camp of the United Nations. But after the migrant camp of the United Nations, you imagine the migrants after seeing the jungle, after seeing multiple people dead, after seeing, swamps full with dead bodies. I'm describing it like it is, because that is how they describe it, not my words. Those are their words. And after walking through this jungle and through all these horrible situations, you see the United Nations, you're like, my God, I'm going to get saved. But no, you're going to get charged with some money. So the United Nations, it is charging $40. $40 per migrant for them to transit through that area. So if you don't want to pay the $40, there's something that is called social labor. So if you don't have money, those $40, if you don't have them, you can pay, you can work inside of the facility, cleaning the trash, feeding the migrants, cleaning the beds. And after a couple of days of hard labor, now I can give you the ability and also the price of you riding in the bus so they can take you from this place to another migrant camp. Thank you, United Nations. You charged me $40. Not me. I'm not saying it. I'm not the one saying it. The migrants are the ones saying it. Look at this that I'm about to put on screen. This is what actually happened. inside of the out when they're coming out of the Darien Gap. This is what actually it is happening coming out of the Darien Gap. I don't know why this thing keeps the phone, man. I hate that. Listen to this interview. Keeps getting me distracted. And this is not only one statement, there were more statements. This is a migrant from Venezuela coming back from Mexico because he could not achieve the asylum into the United States. He was blocked by the Mexican authorities, and they told him to return back. They're not letting them pass. They're not giving them a permit. So the Mexican government practically being the servant of the actual administration of Joe Biden, actual being the yes, master, whatever you say, master, to the United States, because Mexico was letting them transit with the multiple migration form to the country. But now that Joe Biden changed his mind after a long time, that also migrants address this and say, why now? Why till now? You could have saved more lives before Biden. Why block it now? So listen to this statement, and I will translate every single word that he's saying. Every single word. Listen to what he says, and listen to the questions that I ask. This is a migrant. Let me just return back right here a little bit. Here we go.
Hay varios migrantes que han denunciado esto, que les cobran el transporte.
There's a lot of migrants that they are practically speaking up that the United Nations is charging for transportation. What do you say about that? Look what he says.
Para poderlos mover, ¿qué tanto hay cierto de esto?
El transporte te lo cobran en $40.
The transportation, they charge you $40.
La ONU.
La ONU.
And I say, the United Nations. And he says, yes, the United Nations.
No.
And then he gets interrupted by his colleague that is on the side. And he says, no. They don't charge you. They don't charge us for transportation. He gets it more clear. He says they charge us for transit. So they don't even give them the transportation. They're just charging them to transit. How ridiculous is that? But they says, look what he says.
El tránsito. Vamos a
The transit. They're charging us for transit.
Tú entras a la ONU.
But you get inside of the United Nations migrant camp, and then I interrupt him, but I say,
Claro.
But the United Nations, do they know that they are charging money outside of the installations of the United Nations migrant camp? And he says, absolutely, they know.
Claro, porque ellos cuando te acogen en la ONU.
Yeah, because when they take you into the United Nations migrant camp,
claro, yo no me quejo porque me brindaron un plato.
I'm not complaining because they gave me a hot plate of food.
De comida. Sea frío, sea lo que sea.
But if it was cold or if it was hot, I'm appreciative that they gave me a hot plate of food.
Te brindaron un plato de comida, hay que ser consciente.
We got to be conscious about that.
Ellos después te anotan en un sistema.
They write you down in a system.
Y ahí tú pagas tus $40
and then you pay your $40
te transportan.
And then they move you around. I'm not saying it. The migrants are saying it. It is not me. It's not me. The migrants are saying it. So let's stop with these. For all you, snowflakes. My God, fear-mongering, creating hysteria on the border. It's not creating hysteria. This is the reality. This is another migrant that clearly explains how everything it is designed. These three migrants that they are from Venezuela, they clearly explain how everything it is completely designed in these migrant camps and how much they charge. Listen to this. Listen to this other interview right here.
Buenas tardes. Sí, hay ciertos refugios en Panamá que.
Yeah, good evening. There are certain refugees in Panama
que parecen cárceles venezolanas.
That you look at these refugees or these migrant camps, they look like prison camps.
Parecen cárceles venezolanas. De hecho, hay una cárcel.
They look like prison camps from Venezuela. As a matter of fact, there's one.
Que se llama Tocorón, que
There's one prison in Venezuela that the name is Tocorón.
de las más fuertes en el país
It's one of the most, strong prisons in the country of Venezuela. The name is Tocorón.
y es prácticamente Tocorón en Panamá.
And it is practically Tocorón, that prison in the migrant camps outside of the jungle in Panama.
Prácticamente es eso.
Practically is that.
Hay 3 refugios.
There's 3 refugees outside of the jungle.
El abuelo.
One of them is the grandfather, better known as the abuelo.
Nosotros pasamos por el abuelo, por Canán
We went through that migrant camp through the grandfather.
y en la ONU.
We went through that migrant camp, but another one in the United Nations migrant camp. We went through them.
Los 3 son exactamente iguales.
The 3 of them are exactly the same.
Los 3 son exactamente iguales. Parecen una cárcel.
3 of them are exactly the same. The 3 of them look exactly like a prison.
Parecen una cárcel. Las personas.
It looks like a prison. The people inside there, they give bad aspect. It looks like a prison.
Humildes, las personas que quieren superarse.
The people that they want, the people that they're humble, the people that they want to make better for themselves.
Intentan pasar por ahí, pero
They intend to cross through there.
manchan la migración venezolana.
But these people that they are located on these migrant camps, they give a bad aspect to the real migrants that we want to do things right.
La han manchado totalmente.
They have denigrated our migration of Venezuela and these kind of people.
Totalmente.
Totally. And then I asked the questions about the United Nations. Look what he says.
Nos movilizan primero en un camión,
They mobilize you from one bus to another.
saliendo del río.
Getting out of the river or the jungle, they mobilize you on
Nos
a bus.
movilizamos primero en una piragua 4 horas.
They mobilize you on a pirapa. That is kind of like a bus for 4 hours, he says.
$25.
You got to pay $25 there.
Después otra piragua, 45 minutos.
And then another bus or piragua is kind of like a boat. And I don't understand the terminologies of these the South American terminologies. And it says that they charge $25 on that one.
$25.
$25.
Después salimos a tierra firme.
Then, oh yes, it was water. So there's 2 boats of water. First one is charged $25. The other one $25. And then when they go and they land on land, he says,
Nos movilizan un camión.
they mobilize us on a bus.
Es del ejército, eso es gratis, ¿verdad?
That one is from the army, he asked his colleague, and it says, yeah, that one is free. That one is free. So the army from Panama knows that they're charging 25 and 25 to the river. Where are the authorities on this? A lot of people are complaining that, oh my God, it's just only Mexico. It's only Guatemala. What the hell is going on with the authorities of Panama? They know that they're charging people in little boats and little canoes to get to one point to another, but then you are received by the military of Panama. Hey, you're coming through the jungle being trafficked right now, and you already paid $50, right, migrant? This transportation will be free, so I can direct you to the other one that is from the United Nations. Let me save you. These are the jobs that the Biden administration has created. No other. Let's go to the video again and look what he says after the transportation from Panama that is free. What he says about the next one.
El ejército es gratis, después hay unos buses.
Then after that, the transportation from the military that is free. There's other buses.
Nos llevan hacia la ONU.
They take us to the United Nations migrant camp.
Que cobran, creo que $5, no recuerdo bien.
That they charge $5. I don't remember how much.
Entra uno a la ONU.
To enter the United Nations, you got to pay $5. To enter to the United Nations, you got to pay $5. There's no other way. You got to enter to that migrant camp. So the military knows they're receiving the migrant. My God, this is human business, human modern day slavery. So you know that migrants are coming through the river. This is the Panama military. You know that the migrants are coming through the river, already paid like $50 to just move them on canoes. You receive them and you say, this one is free. Don't even worry about it. I got you. I take you from, why you tell them that one is free? Because you got to take them to that migrant camp, which they're going to be charged more. So everybody's working in cahoots. So the military is saying it is free. Don't even worry about it. I'll take you to the migrant camp. To enter the migrant camp of the United Nations, I'll charge you $5. Holy cow. And then after that, what?
A uno la vuelta y el que quiera irse de una vez, porque eso lo primero que nos dijeron es entrar a Panamá y salir de la misma manera que entraron. Entonces,
so they tell us if you want to go through the migrant camp of the United Nations, You got to pay a specific amount. Or to enter Panama and to get out of Panama, this is the only way.
Para usted salir, tiene que pagar $40.
So for you to pay to get out of this place that I just took you, to this place that I just brought you, you got to pay $40. This is the United Nations. Look what he says next.
De la ONU.
De la ONU.
Out of the United Nations camp, I say, and he says, yes, the United Nations.
Para usted salir, usted no puede salir de ninguna otra manera.
You cannot get out of no other way. There's no other exit. You got to go through there. You got to go through there. So you got to pay $40 to go through there. There's no other exit. You got to go through there. Listen to what he says right here, the question that I ask.
Hace una pregunta. ¿Y tú crees que la ONU sabe
And I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that the United Nations, they know about this?
de este cobro? Sé honesto.
Be honest. Be honest. Tell me honestly.
Sí, sabe, porque ellos nos registran.
Yes, absolutely. They know because they're the ones that they're registering us. Holy moly.
Y el bus está parado al lado de la
And the bus is just standing outside of the United Nations migrant camp.
ONU. De hecho, usted no puede salir de ninguna manera. Usted en el
As a matter of fact, you cannot get out of that migrant camp because it is like they only put you there. So it's obvious that they know.
bus que llega, que le estoy diciendo que cobra $5 para llegar a la ONU, ahí lo rodean a uno los militares.
The bus that I'm telling you that you pay $5 to get to the United Nations migrant camp, the military, it is right there standing. So the Panama military knows that they're getting money to transport themselves. The first bus of the Panama military is free. Then you get to another one that you pay $5, and they know that they're going to get to the migrant camp of the United Nations, which the Panama military knows that they're being charged $40.
Para que usted no se pueda salir de su destino.
And they say, he says they put you on a bubble. All the military is around you, so you cannot get out of your destination. So they force you to pay these $40. They force you basically to pay these $40.
Usted entra un enrejado.
You enter, it is like a prison, it is all gated up.
Si usted toma la decisión de quedarse, pues si no tiene dinero,
If you want to stay there because you don't have no money
o continuar si tiene
to pay or to continue,
dinero. El continuar si tiene dinero es un jaulado para
if you want to continue, if you don't have money, it is basically a prison. They keep you there.
para que usted prosiga como si fuera un ganado.
To proceed as cattle, he's referencing the situation as cattle. He says to proceed, they put you they put you gated as cattle if you don't have money to pay,
Y esto te sigue toda su trayectoria hasta montarse en el bus.
and then you follow the trajectory that they're designed you to put on to get on another bus.
Gente que llega sin dinero.
It's not me, it's them. They're the ones that they're describing this. Not me, it's them. Isn't this irresponsible? These people, they were promised a free of entrance into the United States of America. I didn't say it. Biden said it. The current administration said it. And after Kamala Harris you opened the window. You were the one. It was not the past administration because of the disasters. No. Stop that crap. It was you that opened the window, the current administration from the United States. And then later on, you didn't know how to fix it. So you started saying, do not come. Do not come. Do not come. Remember that, Kamala Harris? The border is not closed. The border is closed. It is not open. Remember that? So now you're trying to stop something that you already started. Listen to this migrant. All of these 3 migrants that I'm going to put right now on screen, all of them, they had a bachelor's degree on one. 2 of them are teachers of their sports physicians. 2 of them. Another one, he owned a construction company. He was an engineer. The last one. But these 2 that they just spoke, these 2 were sports physicians. Now, let me put this one interview. Look what he says. Look what he says right here. Let me return it right here. Right there. Right. Right there. Let me just.
gente que llega sin dinero,
people that arrive without money to the migrant camp,
más que todo a lo que le decimos nosotros malandros.
more than anything, the people that we refer to ourselves, the people that we refer to in Venezuela as malandros. Malandros is a terminology for a bad guy that basically robs, steals, deals drugs, does all kinds of stuff. That is a reference to a person that we call malandro. And he's saying to the people that they arrive there that they look like malandros, the bad people, the bad, the referencing to the bad migrant. He says that
Delincuentes,
to these people that they're delinquents.
no se les puede decir de otra manera.
You cannot describe these people as other. They're delinquents. A lot of them, they're delinquents.
Están allá pendientes de cualquier cosa.
They're always putting attention of whatever you're doing.
A muchos de ellos los ponen a hacer una cosa que dicen labor social.
A lot of these malandros or these delinquent people, they put them to work in the United Nations migrant camp as something that is called social labor. Listen to this. This is the United Nations. It is now the biggest NGO in the world. It is putting people to work. And he says they put them to work in something that is called social labor, to the ones that they don't have money, the ones that they look like delinquents.
La labor social los ponen a recoger.
¿En dónde?
They put them to work and like they picked up the trash. And I say, where?
En la ONU.
In the United Nations. Inside of the United Nations, they put them to work.
En el campamento de la ONU y
In the migrant camp of the United Nations.
en Canán se llama.
In Canaan, another place also, they put them to work.
O sea, en el campamento de la ONU los ponen a trabajar.
So you're telling me, I say, that in the migrant camp of the United Nations, they put them to work?
Algo así.
Yeah, something like that.
A que limpien, que recojan los vasos, que recojan la basura, que
To clean the trash, to pick up the cups, to clean the camp,
pues ayuden a trasladar personas.
to help to move one people from one side to the other, from one destination to the other.
Cosas. Entonces, por ejemplo, trabajan 2 días
So if, for example, you work there 2 days,
y al trabajar esos 2 días
and when you have worked those 2 days,
le regalan el pasaje.
they give you the bus fare. They give you the bus fare. So the United Nations is saying, hey, you don't have money over there, man? No, right? You just came over here? Okay. All right. So for you to get, because I need your help, it's not going to be free. You know how these liberals talk. It's not going to be free. You already know that, right? You already know that. So you're coming, you want the asylum? Yeah. So it's not going to be free. You're going to have to work. You have to clean. Like, you're going to have to help us out. We need a lot of help. So you're putting people to work for them to pay their bus fare. You're putting people to work, and these are not your average typical migrants. The migrant himself, it is describing what migrants he is talking about. These people that they're putting to work are unstable individuals, that they are practically delinquents. That is what he's saying. Look what he says next.
Que vale $40 para salir.
They pay you if you work 2 days, and if you don't have money to pay your bus fare, working 2 days in there, you can pay your bus fare ticket, working 2 days there. That is a value of $40
Salir del campamento
to get out of the migrant camp.
hacia el otro campamento.
They can direct you to the other migrant camp.
En el otro campamento tiene que
In the other migrant camp,
llegar a hacer lo mismo.
you have to do exactly the same. Holy cow. Holy moly. Who runs these migrant camps? What NGOs they run these migrant camps? The United Nations. The best there is. How's everybody doing? Oscar Blue right here for Border Network News correspondent for Real Americans Voices and the Winnie Bell Radio Network. Shocking video of our discovery in our trip to Central America between the countries of Honduras and Guatemala. We talked to so many migrants from Venezuela, stories, and also about the United Nations, how much money they are charging in migrant camps for them to transit. Share the video, like the video, hit that bell button, hit that like button on Facebook, and also, not only that, buy me a coffee. It's on the bottom link. It's pinned on the chat. And if you guys would like to contribute to our independent reporting and travel fund, look at to what he says next.
O sea, trabajas para pagar tu pasaje.
So basically, I say you work to pay your ticket.
Algo así,
Vas del campamento
Yes, something like that.
al campamento.
algo así.
Y los que no trabajan tienen que pagarlo.
And the ones that they don't work, they have to pay for their bus fare.
Exactamente.
Yes, exactly.
Por ejemplo, a nosotros nos dijeron,
For example, to us, they told us,
ustedes tienen el dinero de continuar, esta es la
if wow. So they told us, for exactly, he says, for example, they told us, if you guys have the money to pay to get out of this migrant camp of the United Nations, this is the line over there. So they have a specific line for the people that they have money and the people they don't.
fila. Haga su fila, compre
Do your line,
su boleto y se va.
buy your ticket, and then you're gone.
Pero ahí parecía, como dijo mi compañero, una prisión, una
But that looked exactly like a prison. It is a prison.
cárcel.
It is a
Yo nunca estuve en
prison.
una cárcel, pero me la imaginé así.
And I never imagined that. I never been in a prison. So that looked like a prison.
Muchas personas llenas de repente
This is another migrant. Holy cow. I'm not even, and then I'm going to go into the most difficult part. This is the last migrant, male migrant. I want to go into the interviews when we got inside of the Air Force in Guatemala. Remember when they were talking about that Trump used to separate the children in the installations of the border agents and ICE and all that? I want to put a clip right here with evidence. This is what I liked to put evidence. Look what this migrant says. This another migrant from Venezuela.
de sueños y ver que de repente nuestros mismos compatriotas van a otros países simplemente a hacernos quedar mal por no
There's a lot of people, there's a lot of bad people from Venezuela that they're coming and they're making us look really bad to the migrants that we want to achieve our dreams.
querer trabajar.
We want to go to work.
Ven más fácil pedir dinero.
And for all these people that they're making us look bad, they're just asking money on the street. And that is not a correct way to do it.
Estar en una esquina
They think that that is correct, to be in the corner asking for money,
exponiendo a sus hijos,
exposing their children.
porque no ven la gravedad de eso, exponiendo a sus propios hijos, a su
They
propia
don't look at the seriousness of that, exposing their children. They don't look at the seriousness of that.
sangre. Yo tengo mi hija y
I have my daughter.
no sería capaz de eso.
I would not be capable of exposing my children like that.
Creo que trabajaría lo que pudiera hacer
I think that I will work as tirelessly as to do as much as I can
para obviamente darle a ella una mejor
so I can give to my daughter a better life.
vida, y una mejor vida no es pedir en la calle
And the better life is not to be asking money on the street.
y mucho menos exponerla a ella.
And nevertheless, you know, to expose my daughter like that.
Al llegar a cada campamento es un desastre.
When you arrive to every migrant camp outside of the jungle, it's a complete disaster.
El primer campamento, que es el del abuelo, que nunca lo
The first migrant camp that is there, that is called the grandfather, we never touched that migrant camp.
conocimos, no supimos quién es un negocio.
That is a business right there. We never knew, we never touched it, we never went through it, but it's a business.
La comida te vale $5,
The food is $5.
un agua te vale $1,
The water is $1.
todo es un negocio.
Everything is a business. We are a business.
O sea que la migración sirvió solamente para hacer negocio.
To my conclusion, migration right now, it is only to make a business out of ourselves.
La labor social prácticamente la hacen las personas que
The social labor that my colleague right here, that my fellow patriot was talking about, it is handled by people that
vienen a lo que estamos llamando nosotros, que son las personas que van a molestar, que
the people that are doing the social labor are the ones that they don't have a purpose of migration, that they only come to bother real migrants.
no vienen con sentido de trabajo,
They don't have they are not coming with a sense of to do a job, to work.
no vienen con sentido de responsabilidad, con
They don't come with a sense of responsibility.
de darle una mejor visión o una
They don't have a sense of a better vision of a better life.
mejor faceta de nuestro
And they don't have a better capability of saying, hey, you know what, I want to achieve this in life.
país a los otros países.
And they don't look at getting better to themselves when they arrive to another country in another country.
Son personas que vienen, son delincuentes,
There's other people those are the people that they're coming. They're delinquents. They're bad people.
naturalmente son delincuentes,
Naturally, they're delinquents.
No voy a discriminar que una persona porque tenga tatuajes
I'm not going to discriminate a person that has tattoos.
sea una persona mala,
That a person that has tattoos is a bad person.
pero obviamente notas los tatuajes de una cárcel,
But obviously, you notice tattoos from a prison.
notas los tatuajes de una banda,
You notice the tattoos from a gang,
notas los tatuajes de personas que andan en otras
and you notice tattoos that they are from other people, that they are in bad places and they have been in bad places.
cosas que no son realmente en las que nosotros los venezolanos que queremos hacer bien,
And then these kind of people are the ones that they're giving us a bad image. The Venezuelans that we want to do things
no
right,
lo podemos hacer.
and we cannot do them because we are being blocked by those kind of individuals. It's not me, it's them. United Nations asking for money. It's not me, it's them. Things that we have been already talking about for months and months and months about migrants, that they're infiltrated migrants, that they're bad migrants, that they're coming in to give a bad image to the Venezuelan people. They're the ones that explain it, not me. I'm not explaining it. They're the ones that they're explaining it. And really legitimate cases of asylum, persecution, and violence, they are being put in a predicament because of these bad individuals. And modern day slavery, of course, absolutely. The jungle, it is modern day slavery. It is just hell, the jungle, the Darien Gap, because everybody's making a business and everybody's making a buck out of the migrants. This was our investigation in Guatemala, inside of the National Air Force of Guatemala. It was really hard to get in there. Really hard. But we got in there. And these people were really nice to let us in. Again, I got to give thanks to the Institute of National Immigration of Guatemala. And also, I got to give thanks to the international organizations that are taking care of, guess what? The thousands of unaccompanied minors that the Biden administration, it is deporting. This administration that is talking about humanity and helping and oh my God, for the migrant. According to the statistics of the Institute of National Immigration of Guatemala, on this year alone, from the month of January till now, more than 401 flights they have been deporting and returning Guatemala citizens. And according to the Institute of National Immigration of Guatemala, more than 60,000 migrants from Guatemala have been returned back. Where is your promises that you were going to help these people? This is what open border policies do. They destroy families. They destroy dreams. They destroy infrastructures on communities and cities. This is what it does. Listen to this interview. Listen to this interview of this person. What she says about unaccompanied minors, and also another one that it says about unaccompanied minors and their travesties of how much they spend. The Biden administration has created so many jobs. Yes, the organized crime is making a lot. It is making billions out of trafficking people and making a business and making a buck of every border that is connected to the United States. It is a reality. Listen to this. This is a migrant that just got returned back from the United States and just arrived inside of the National Air Force of Guatemala. And she describes her travesty as she gets interviewed by me. And the first question that I say to her is, the American dream, a complete nightmare, huh? And she says, a complete nightmare. Look what she says.
Presidencia Joe Biden y también como las autoridades.
Una pesadilla.
Complete
Caminos
nightmare.
Es una aventura, una travesía. Porque
It is an adventure. It is a travesty.
muchas personas pues toca irse en camión,
A lot of us, we know we go on buses
en trailers, arriesgando
and back of a trailers,
la vida de sus hijos.
risking our children's lives. A lot of us, we do that.
Y si uno se va del país es porque realmente tiene amenazas
If we exile the country, it is because we have a lot of threats in our country. We cannot live here.
en la situación de nosotros.
In the situation of us,
Estamos siendo extorsionados aquí
We were being extortion right here in this country,
en este país y las autoridades no nos ayudaron, no
and the authorities were not helping us over here in Guatemala.
hicieron nada por nosotros.
They didn't do anything for us.
Por eso fuimos buscando ayuda.
That is why we were risking our lives to go and ask for help.
Y pasamos 20 días
And we spent 20 days to get
luchando para llegar a Estados Unidos.
to the United States of America.
Y allá solo nos agarraron, nos metieron 11 días.
And over there, they just picked us and they just gave us. They put us in the cold boxes, as they say, in the cold rooms, 11 days
En unos cuartos fríos con los niños. Los
with the kids and everything.
niños se enfermaron,
The kids got sick.
no les dan unos medicamentos,
They would not give them medicine.
solo los chequean, pero no les
They
dan
only check them, but they don't give them medicine.
un medicamento. Hasta ahorita que veníamos en el avión me le
You know, until we were coming back on the plane, they gave them some medicine to my child.
dieron medicina a mi niña que traía gran tos.
They gave medicine to my child that it had, she was coughing a lot.
Desafortunadamente, la vulnerabilidad del cruce irregular de personas por el río
I'm describing the video. I'm describing right here the video of, and I'm saying, unfortunately, the ones that they have taken over the borders and the one that have taken over the current situation of migrating to rivers and all this kind of stuff, it is the organized crime. This is a video that it was viral by Griff Jenkins as the traffickers are directing migrants. This is an old video, but I'm describing how this is going to go to the other topic that I asked a question to the migrant. How much you spent to go into the United States of America? And look what she says. It is amazing. And the exacerbated quantity of money that they are spending. Look at the question that I asked.
Por Texas, por,
I crossed through Texas,
por el río.
through the river,
Nos cruzamos el río.
through the river. I crossed through the river.
Nos cruzamos en la noche al río.
We crossed in the middle of the night.
Mi esposo se estaba ahogando.
My husband almost drowned.
Pagamos a alguien para cruzarnos.
We paid somebody to cross us. This is the business that we are talking about. We paid somebody to cross us. And then I asked, how much?
Porque no se puede. $4,000.
$4,000 we paid to cross us.
$4,000 pagó
And I say, $4,000 you paid?
a un
Por
coyote.
persona.
A coyote, yes. We paid $4,000 per person. There's 4 of us. So you're talking about $16,000 just to cross to the United States, and you have been returned back. This is what open border policies do. They make you believe that crossing irregularly and paying a coyote, it is something that is the last resource. The Biden administration has created this idea towards migrants that a coyote, it is a resource of transportation to get into the United States of America. So the Biden administration has created this idea that the prize is the United States of America. And all the way to Panama, they already know that the migrant camps, they can charge transportation. The United Nations knows that they can charge and make a buck out of migrants. Also traffickers, they can make a buck out of migrants in canoes and transportation from one side to the other. And not only that, when you get to different countries, you make a buck. And then when you get to the northern borders, yes, you're one step right there just to cross the United States. Then you make another buck out of them, charging them $4,000 for each person just to cross to the United States of America. $16,000. Please, the question that you are about to ask on the live feed, where did they get that money if they're suffering? I already explained this hundreds of thousands of times before. They sell their properties, they sell their cars, they sell everything that they have. They ask for loans. Some of them, they still owe that money, and they end up with a debt. So please stop with that question. Let us go on the video. She says we paid $4,000 for each one.
Por persona.
Nosotros somos 4 personas.
We are 4 of us, and we pay $4,000 for each person.
¿Cómo fue ese proceso?
How was that process to get there?
Llegó, preguntó.
You arrived there, you asked, what was the process?
Sí, ahí hay gente que
Yes, there's a lot of people around that they're asking, do you want to cross?
anda viendo quién se quiere cruzar.
You know, they're asking you who wants to cross.
Y ya nos pasamos para allá, pero sí, bien horrible.
Yes, we crossed, and it was horrible. It was horrible. That is a horrible situation.
Y el sufrimiento de los niños, y
The suffering of the children.
todo, pasan hambre y todo
They go through hunger. They go through a lot of situations that we saw.
eso. Y para que uno llegue a un lugar que uno considera
And we thought that we arrived to a place that we considered that they were going to help us,
que lo van a ayudar,
that they're considering that they are going to help us.
y no.
And no, they don't help us. And look at the question that I asked next. Look at the question that I asked next. So what the Biden administration, so the Biden thing, the Biden president thing, it is a lie? Do you think it is a lie? And look at what she says. So it's a lie about Joe Biden. It's a lie what Joe Biden is saying?
No, eso es mentira.
Yes, it is a complete lie. That is a complete lie.
Eso es mentira.
That is a complete lie.
Los niños sufren
The
porque
kids suffer.
primero separan a las familias.
First, they separate the families. Hold on a minute. It can't be. Separating families inside of a governmental facility to do a process? It can't be. No, it can't, because I remember Alexandra Ocasio crying outside of the El Paso facility. Oh my God, they're separating children and they're putting them in different cages. Oh my God. Trump is the most horrible person ever. And then multiple, Rashida Tlaib, Nancy Pelosi, Shifty Schiff, Gavin Newsom, Veronica Escobar. Oh my God, Trump is separating families inside of the governmental detention facilities. What did she say? She said separation of families. So Biden is separating families? No. Did Trump separated families? No. Did Obama separated families? No. Did George Bush Jr. separated families? No. Did Clinton separated families? No. Did Reagan separated families? No. Did George Bush Sr. separated families? No. It is the process when you get detained and stopped from coming in a regular fashion to a non-port of entry. But the liberals and the progressives on the left in the United States of America, they're always trying to make it of a political party. They always try to make it political. So when Trump was president, they were saying, oh my God, Trump is separating a lot of families. When they get inside of the detention facility, why don't you say nothing right now when they're doing it actually now? Look what the migrant is saying. I'm not saying it. She's saying it.
Es mentira lo de Joe Biden.
No, eso es mentira. Eso es mentira. Los niños sufren porque primero separan a las familias. En el caso de nosotros, separaron.
First, they separate the families. In the case of us, they separated us.
A mi esposo de la nena.
They separated my husband from my little child and me.
No nos daba ninguna noticia de que cómo estaba él o cómo.
They wouldn't give us news of how he was doing, or how he was asking how I was doing, so they would not say anything about it.
¿Cómo estaba yo? Uno les pregunta a los oficiales.
Hold on a minute. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to that? So back when Trump was president, the leftists were complaining about separation of families. It is a process inside of the facility where they separate the man from the woman. Sometimes the children get separated because they want to make sure that the child, it is the legitimate daughter, son of that parent. It is the way that it, inside of the detention centers, how it functions. Remember, there's a lot of trafficking with children. There's a lot of unaccompanied minors, which I am going to put a clip right here that nobody remembers now. Let us go, because I asked her about unaccompanied minors.
Mire, disculpen, necesito saber cómo. Yo no sé nada. No tengo información.
And then she says that we ask a lot of officials about how's the current situation, and they don't say anything.
Puede uno decir, mire, le puedo exponer mi problema, mi caso, el por qué yo vengo.
And she's saying sometimes we go to the officers and we try to ask the questions, how we are here, why we are here.
Y cuando salimos ahorita cuando salimos de allá, les preguntamos para dónde.
And we
vamos,
were exiting right now, where we were, as we were putting on right now on a plane, we were asking them where we were going, and they wouldn't say anything.
Pensamos que nos iban a enviar con nuestros familiares.
We thought that we were going to be sent to family members.
Para dónde van.
And the officials said, like, we don't know where we're taking you.
Autoridades migratorias.
So this is where I'm going. Where am I going? You guys know that I always go to something. The unaccompanied children, unaccompanied minors, a problem that has coexisted for now years. And she says something about unaccompanied minors. I ask her a question. Did you saw a lot of unaccompanied minors? And look what she says.
Hay muchos niños que van solitos sin sus padres.
There's a lot of children that they are alone.
No acompañados también están retornando de los
A lot of the children, unaccompanied minors, they're returning them. Look what she says.
Estados Unidos.
También están retornando.
Yes, a lot of them, they're returning them. So the Biden administration, it is returning a lot of unaccompanied minors? Hold on a minute. No, that's not true. That's not true. Because Biden used to say, you know what, we're helping them. We're making sure that help them. Look at this other migrant that it was returned back also from the United States after being put in his claims to asylum and being denied access into the United States. Talking about the unaccompanied minors.
Con uno se te gritaban o quedaba la ocasión de la salida del país.
Look at this, what he says. I'm trying to find
Te
a...
dicen, los que no, peligroso así la cruzada siempre.
Es más de un mes para llegar a nuestra pesadilla.
No fue tan peligroso así la cruzada, pero sí, siempre se...
Did you pay somebody to enter the United States of America? I entered through the river, he says. And then he says, yes, we got to pay, inevitably, we got to pay somebody to enter through the river.
Tiene que pagar a alguien.
We have to pay somebody.
Oficiales de migración, los que nos recibieron al cruzar, pues sí fueron bien.
The officials from the United States that they received us, they were really nice when we crossed the river.
Como que se sentía muy grosero, pues, los niños.
No acompañados también ellos.
And I asked this question right here. You can actually hear it in Spanish. I asked this question. Did you see a lot of unaccompanied minors in these detention facilities? Look what he says right here about that. I'm not saying it, he's saying it. Look what he says.
No acompañados también.
Yes, oof, my God.
Había era la mayor cantidad de...
It was the vast majority of migrants, the unaccompanied minors.
Le podría decir de niños no acompañados.
There was a lot, hundreds of unaccompanied minors. So you're returning unaccompanied minors, Biden administration? Mallorcas? You're returning unaccompanied minors. Let us go back to something that I want to put right now. As before, everybody was accusing this man of doing a horrible job. Remember this clip? How hypocritical it is, this administration. Do you guys remember this clip? And it says on the top, look what it says on the top. Biden slams Trump for 500 missing. 500 only. Do you know how many they have entered in the year 2021? And I'm hearing the leftists right now. It is because of the bad policy that Trump made. No. They can say estupideces. Do you know how many they entered on 2021? More than 34,000. Do you know how many they are right now entering the United States? Almost 15,000. But do you remember this? Look, the migrant from Guatemala just described that they're separating families inside of the facility. And the other migrant from Guatemala also describes that they have hundreds of them inside of the facility. But do you remember this? This was on the debate. Listen.
The United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels.
Is he lying? I'm asking a question. I'm not going with him. I'm not praising him. I'm just asking, to be honest, leave your Democrat hat, leave your Republican hat, and just be a normal citizen. Start being a progressive and stop being a full right wing. Leave those hats alone and just be a normal, average U.S. citizen. As you're watching, and as a Mexican citizen, and I'm watching this and living in it, and I have broadcast it, is he lying about what he's saying after you guys, what you guys have seen? Is he lying of what is happening right now? This was in the debates. Is he lying? Let me return right here. This is what he says.
Cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through.
But how will you reunite these kids with their families?
How would you reunite these kids with your family? Can you ask that question, ma'am? Can you ask that question right now to the current president that is holding on 2021 more than 34,000 unaccompanied minors? He has received more than 34,000 unaccompanied minors. And right now he has received 14,000, more than almost 15,000. Is he lying? I'm going to put it on screen again and let us hear what he says.
They built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages. And then they had a picture in a certain newspaper. And it was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you have a plan to reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Is he lying? Is he lying again? After what you have seen, after what we have seen, is there a lie? It's cruel the way that possibly sounds. Is dark the way that he's describing it. It is a really dark place where I have been, and emotionally I have been devastated by hearing all these stories, and I am emotionally destroyed when I hear these stories, and I got to come back home and see my child and greet my child and be like, hey, how you doing? Try to play with my child after I have seen families that they have lost their children in the jungle. It is so, to balance my emotions, me, Oscar Blue, to balance my emotion from one day to another, my God, it is so, holy cow. But the way that this man is describing it, it is cruel. It is a really dark place. But is he lying? Is he lying? I'm asking. No, he's not. Because he describes the things as there is. He's describing the situation as it is. And a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't like it the way that he's describing it. Look at what is happening right now with unaccompanied minors. Look what is happening right now with separation of families. Look what is happening right now with multiple traffickers making a lot of money, billions of dollars in the borders. Was he lying?
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500 plus kids came with parents.
What about the 34,000 that you had on 2021?
Separated them at the border.
You're separating right now kids also, Joe. There's evidence. There's migrants that you are returning back on a false promise into Guatemala. More than 60,000. Out of those 60,000, thousands of children, unaccompanied minors, you're returning back also. There's evidence right here that you have right now on your hands, on your facilities, on immigration facilities. You have a lot of unaccompanied minors right now. There's evidence.
To make it a disincentive to come to begin with.
Disincentive to come. Remember that you were the one to say, search the border on this debate? Not only that, now you have closed it. Whatever happened, you're a humanitarian. You said that you were going to give 11 million DACA recipients the citizenship. That you were going to open the door on 3 different ports of entry of 125,000 per each month. Am I lying? I'm just bringing back stuff and putting it all together for what is happening right now.
Bay, real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents.
Again, Joe, you got more than 34,000 unaccompanied minors on 2021. Those are not my statistics. Those are the Department of Homeland Security statistics and also statistics from Guatemala government, from Mexico government. More than 34,000 unaccompanied minors have entered your land, and they were in possession of your government in 2021. You got almost more than 15,000 unaccompanied minors right now. It is not who brought them, Joe. Who do you think they brought them? Alone? And you're returning a lot of them. Guess to who? Do you know that the Guatemala authorities, they don't like you at all? Do you know that the authorities from Honduras, they don't like you at all? Because of this inhumane way of you returning back to children without a destination. When it was in the past administration, they were returning them to a destination. This time now, I've seen 2 of them when I was there. Of the hundreds that you are returning back from the United States to Guatemala, that they were alone with no parent. And the government of Guatemala is in charge now of directing them and trying to do another job because you open your mouth to say it is open for everybody. And the children also. Remember, you said that? That you prefer them to come walking and through this horrible travesties all the way to the border instead of dying in their countries? Instead of opening up your mouth to say, let me create a better pathway for them in their country. Let me send something, authorities, I don't know, some kind of program. I'm not saying it. The migrants are saying it. Cruel reality. The hypocritical agenda right now, not even some people on the right, some people on the left, but it's a hypocritical agenda. A lot of rhinos, they're not doing anything about it. And now, let me just tell you something. As I have said before, our next program is going to be about this, and I'm going to have an invitee. I'm going to invite somebody from Venezuela to speak about how the continent of America, it is turning. It is turning. ¿Qué hablas tú, man? Hablas puras, man. Deja Guatemala fuera de tus mentiras. Cállate, Fito. Cállate, por el amor de Dios, cállate. Que no sabes tú lo que está sufriendo tu gente guatemalteca. Cállate el hocico. Cállate la boca. Que no sabes tú cuántos miles y miles de migrantes guatemaltecos son regresados por esta agenda de Joe Biden, que les prometió que les iba a abrir las puertas. Cállate la boca. Lávate la boca. For everybody that is watching, and for everybody that does not understand, there's a current situation which I said before. There's a current situation in the continent of America. That the continent of America, the whole continent of America, was going to be left. And it was going to turn into a communist continent. I said to you guys, all of you, the continent of America is under globalist and communist attack. I told you. I remember 2 to 3 years ago saying that. 2 to 3 years ago saying that. The whole continent, it is all majority left. All of it. Yesterday, Brazil has turned again to a socialist ideologist president. The whole continent, it is left. The biggest infrastructure of countries that they have the potential of capitalists or to succeed, they have turned into left. Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Mexico. We already know who are the dictatorship countries: Venezuela, Nicaragua. But if you look of the continent of America, it is all socialist left. Adding also that the United States is a democratic leftist political party, and also adding that the Canadian country, it is also a leftist political country now, run by a leftist government. All continent, it is now left. It is sad to go to a country like Guatemala, which is beautiful. And I will say this in Spanish and in English. It is muy triste, ir a un país como Guatemala, que es hermoso. And it is more sad that because of these open border policies, y es muy triste de la razón por estas políticas de fronteras abiertas, people understand that the border is going to be completely open, que la gente piensa que todo va a estar abierto, que todo va a ser fácil. And right now, the people that they have been suffering the more than being denied into the United States of America, that they were promised that the border was going to be open, y las personas en este momento que prácticamente arriesgan su vida y que les prometieron que la frontera estaba abierta, porque eso fue lo que les dijo Kamala Harris antes, y luego ya después fue y les dijo, do not come. It was the people from Guatemala. It is the people from Guatemala. Son las personas de Guatemala. Que at this particular moment, en este momento en particular, nobody's talking about the migration that is being hurted more and denied more into the United States. Absolutely. Y nadie está hablando de la migración más dolida y más negada en el continente, que es también la migración de Guatemala. That is the migration of Guatemala. More than 60,000 have been returned on this year from January to now. Más de 60,000 son regresados de enero hasta ahora. Why you told them that it was open and then you tell them that it's closed? ¿Por qué les dices que estaba abierto y luego después les dices que está cerrado? What games are you playing? ¿Qué juegos estás jugando? Do you actually know that the authorities of Guatemala, they are tired of your processes? ¿No te has dado cuenta que estás creando una mala relación entre gobiernos? Que las autoridades de Guatemala también están hartos de que digas un día está abierto, otro día está cerrado, un día está abierto, otro día está cerrado. What kind of games are you playing? You're creating a lot of animosity between these countries. Estás creando una relación colateral, bilateral, horrible entre estos países, México, Guatemala, y Honduras, Nicaragua y El Salvador. One day it's open, the other day it's closed. Un día está abierto, otro día está cerrado. Que se arriesguen de todos modos la gente, hombre. Un día, mañana la cierro. Let them risk their lives. Tomorrow I will close it. Let them risk their lives. Do you know how many migrants have said on interviews in Guatemala? ¿Ustedes saben cuántos migrantes de Venezuela me dijeron a mí en Guatemala? Do you know how many they told me? Biden, why now? ¿Saben cuántos de ellos me dijeron, Biden, por qué hasta ahora? When you could have saved hundreds from dying at the jungle, cuando pudiste haber salvado a muchísimos de que murieran en la selva y salvado a muchísima gente que no hiciera esta travesía, and saved a lot of people from not embarking on these travesties. But no, you told them that you were going to help the world, pero no, dijiste que ibas a ayudar a todo el mundo. And now from one day to another you say it's closed. Y ahora para un día para otro dices ya está cerrado. Ahorita déjame cerrarlo. Let me close it right now because it's November. Déjame cerrarlo porque ahí viene la situación política en noviembre en mi país. It is all a political interest. Esa es una situación de intereses políticos. It is all humanitarian political interests. And the only ones that they suffer the more are people that they are migrating. They're used for a purpose. Y los únicos que sufren más es la gente que migra y gasta miles de dólares para poder llegar y que le nieguen el acceso. Because you created an ideology, you created an idea that it was okay to pay a coyote and it's okay to transit all the way over there. And a coyote has become a resource, porque señores ya crearon esta ideología de que migrar incorrectamente y de manera irregular es un recurso ya. Es una manera, cruzar por el río está bien, cruzar por el desierto está bien, cruzar por una montaña está bien, cruzar por una selva está bien. Yep. Meanwhile, people are suffering because of these open border policies. Y mientras personas sufren las consecuencias de estas políticas de fronteras abiertas. Whatever happened to migrating correctly, documented, peacefully, and with a purpose, and helped, immediate help in their countries? ¿Qué pasó, señores, con esto que era migrar de manera correcta, documentada, pacífica y con un propósito y ayuda inmediata a sus países? Oh. Remember they were saying separation of families back in the day? ¿Se acuerdan que estaban hablando ellos de separación de familias antes en la pasada administración? What's going on now? ¿Qué está pasando ahorita? Why you're returning a lot of unaccompanied minors? ¿Por qué está regresando tanto niño no acompañado? No, they're not suffering now, right? No, ellos ahorita no están sufriendo. Ahorita los niños no están sufriendo. The children, they're not suffering right now. No, they stopped suffering on this administration. Los niños no sufren en la administración de Biden. Aquí ya no sufren. Aquí se les trata y se les regresa y se les da el confort y el amor que todos quieren. ¿Verdad? I want to give thanks. I want to say thank you. Y quiero dar las gracias. I want to give thanks to the Guatemala Authority and ultimately the Guatemala Institute National Immigration of Guatemala. Quiero dar las gracias al Instituto Guatemalteco de Migración que se portaron a la altura. Grandes humanos, honestos y responsables y respetuosos en todo momento. Muchísimas gracias. To the Institute National Immigration of Guatemala, thank you so much for the treatment, respectful and honest treatment in really humane way. Really human way they treated us. You know how difficult it is to get in there. ¿Saben qué tan difícil es entrar a esas facilidades? Es muy difícil. Y para que te den acceso es porque están haciendo un trabajo fenomenal. And for them to give them access to you is because they're doing a phenomenal job. And they are doing a phenomenal job on treating this crisis. Y están haciendo un trabajo excepcional, toda la autoridad guatemalteca, en esta crisis humanitaria que está pasando en su país, porque es una crisis humanitaria. La migración más negada y más maltratada, una de las migraciones más negadas y más maltratadas que no están hablando nadie, es la migración de Guatemala. The migration that nobody's talking about that is really hurt and it is being denied access into the United States of America is the migration of Guatemala. And the Guatemala government is paying for the consequences. They're the ones that they are reinstating all of this. They're reinstating all of this catastrophe, all of this crisis. They're trying to fix it again. And it is not their job. Why these Central American governments, they have to fix a problem because somebody in the north opened his mouth that it was going to be open. And then he says that it's closed. And then he says that it's open, that it's going to help. And then he says that it's closed. And then there's videos, viral videos that the border is open in Texas and in the river and in the Arizona desert. Why? Why these governments have to fix that? Because of your policies, people are suffering and going through jungles and going through rivers and going through mountains and going through this. Because you open your mouth. And the governments that they have to pay the consequences are the governments of Guatemala, governments of Honduras, governments of Nicaragua, governments of El Salvador, governments of Mexico. And because they know that there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of money that you can make, well, let's make it. because there's corrupt officials everywhere. And the ones that they're suffering the more are the people all the time. The ones that are taken advantage and used as bait are the migrants. But because of one man that opened his mouth and said that it's open, and then later on, Kamala Harris goes to Guatemala and says, do not come. Do not come. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News, correspondent for Real America's Voice News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Thank you for joining in. We're live at Getter, and we're live at YouTube, and we're live at Facebook. We are live at all those platforms. Thank you so much for joining in. Share the video, like the video, share the video. Buy me a coffee is on the bottom link. If you guys like to contribute to independent reporting and travel fund, buy me a coffee. It's on the bottom link. I'm looking at some comments, and some of the are really denigrating comments, man. Despicable comments. Really, I'm looking at some comments, and I'm like, wow, how can you? This is a comment right here, and I will put this comment right here. Not one man or administration, generations of economic disparity. Not only that, but when are they going to be held accountable for what they're doing right now? This is not a justification, my brother. You sound like the people in Mexico, and I'm not. You're gaslighting a little bit, but you sound like the people in Mexico right now. That the people in Mexico are not blaming AMLO because they're blaming only the past administrations and the past administrations and the right-wing political parties. You know that Mexico has always had political parties that they're a disaster. PRI, PAN, PRD, they're a complete disaster. They took away all our money. They have stepped all over our pride. They have stepped all over our families. Right-wing political parties in Mexico have been a complete disaster. They have destroyed our economy. But then a left-wing political party comes in, and the only thing that they do is just blame the past administration. So when are you going to be held accountable for what you're doing? When are you going to step up to the plate and say, we're going to try to fix it? And then they got jokes. Never serious. When? ¿Cuándo? Pues, ¿cuándo, pues? ¿Cuándo van a tenerlos para decir, es por mi culpa? Porque yo lo hice. When are you going to have the cojones to say, it's because of me, it's because of my fault? I cannot correct it. I don't know how. Opening up the border was a solution. Opening up the border was a solution. Say hello to Sunni middle child. Sunni, send you a big hug. Send you a huge hug all the way to Japan. Junga, 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 junga. Say hello to your husband, the Denzel Washington of the military, man. Say hello to her. Say hello to him. Give you, best regards over there all the way to Japan. And say to all the servicemen that they're serving in Japan, give a quick shout out to Sunni's husband that he is a serviceman from the military in Japan, serving over there overseas, taking care of his family, taking care of his wife. Great man, great guy. Great guy. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News, correspondent for Real America's Voice News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You know, I have always, before I say goodbye, an hour and 21, I have extended so much on this live feed, and I'm sorry for my manager, got a lot of things to do. But I had to extend. Let me just give me 5 minutes more. All right? Give me 5 minutes more. I have to say something. When you're talking facts and when you're talking truth, I have a troll right now on Instagram that it's a she. She's been sending me consistently posts of the Republicans and making me look like I'm a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I cannot be. I'm a Mexican citizen. And I'm nor for a political party. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it. I have always said it. I have always said it since day one. I don't know why people get like, oh my God, he's a Republican. He works for a right wing. Oh my God, he's such an extremist. No, I'm not. Quit yapping about it and quit crying about it. But I got this troll sending me posts, and and you know, in Instagram, you got like a place that says primary and messages, and then another one that is secondary, and then the other one that has hidden messages or whatever it is. So I went over there. I never go over there, and I went over there, and I had like, oh my God, hundreds. So I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I saw this one, and it was like consistent post of just saying that the situation that happened in January and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, so your defense is to send me Facebook post. Do you have an actual legitimate defense that you can tell me that this is mention me one? You used to praise Trump policies though. Mention me one. One, mention me. I'm giving you the time of the day. I'm giving you the time of the day. Mention me one. Mention me one. And I will tell you if it is true or not. All right. So as we are talking right now, I cannot have a conversation. If you're a leftist progressive, or if you're a right-wing progressive, or whatever you are, I cannot have a conversation if you use this kind of language. I cannot have it with you because everything is going to be an excuse, a justification. If you use this kind of stupid, incompetent language, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to call people like that, but this is the language of oppression to freedom of speech. If you use this language, I cannot sit down and talk to you about politics or about immigration. Look at your comment right here. There's a guy right here, and I like these comments. You said you used to praise Trump policies, though, and I told you, mention me one, and then you go on this comment and you say you said you wanted to take a photo with him, Oscar. That is not a policy. We're talking about a policy. Mention me one, man, before you start opening your mouth. Come on, mention me one. So if you use this language, if you use this, okay, now you change your topic. That's not his policies, but you did admire him one point with all due respect. I did, yes. And you know why? I ask you about a policy, you open your mouth about a policy and you don't have a response, with all due respect. So you lied about that. Then you change it now. That's not his policies, but you did admire him. Now you changed it at one point with all respect. And yes, I did. And I will tell you why. He's the only one that has stand in front of these globalists. No, I'm not being offended. I'm not being offended. This is the way I talk. Don't be a snowflake. When he stand in front of the United Nations and he gave it to them like nobody else, that was the day that I respected that man. When he stood in front of the United Nations and he told them the way that it's supposed to be to all these globalist open borders, disgusting, inhuman individuals that they are sitting down and they think that George Soros is a philanthropist, he gave it to them that day. I'm not lying about it. I have always said it before. And if it's really difficult to have a conversation with these kind of individuals that they use this kind of language. You're a fear monger. I'm not going to have a conversation with you if you're going to use this. Because everything you're going to consider it a fear monger. You're a conspiracy theorist. Everything that I will say that is in opposition to your idea, you're going to say that is a conspiracy. When I'm actually showing you a fact because I walk with the situation and I show you video, but you're going to say that it's a conspiracy. You're a fear monger, you're a conspiracy. You're creating hysteria. So now saying the truth about an actual situation, it is creating hysteria. It's exacerbated the information. So everything that builds your character and everything that builds your idea and everything that has to do with your political stance is not creating hysteria. But whatever I say that is a complete opposition to what you say, it is creating hysteria. I'm not going to have a conversation with you with that. You're QAnon. I never liked QAnon. I never liked QAnon, and everybody knows that. I never liked QAnon. Everybody knows that I don't follow QAnon. I'm a reporter. I'm a journalist. We don't follow those kind of situations. I follow a person. I like news given out by a person himself that is standing with a microphone or standing at a camera saying this is what it is. I don't believe on this white imperialism, white supremacy, white oppression. You're a racist. You're a fascist. You're a narcissist. You're a xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, pronoun phobic. If you use these kind of languages, you're not woke. If you use these kind of languages, don't approach me. We're not going to have a conversation. There's a comment right here before I go, and we have been right up with our conspiracy theory certified. No, you haven't. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that they're really, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of them that they're way off. Way off. That's why I don't share QAnon. I don't like them. They're the ones that they're creating actual hysteria. A lot of it. I'm sorry. I really don't. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to say goodbye now. Follow my partner, Real Anthony Agüero. I'm sweating. It's hot over here in this room, man. Just came back from Central America. The weather over there, 2 to 3 questions outside of the box that a lot of people are asking me. Why you have lost so much weight? I'm all right. I am practicing boxing. I'm eating well. I'm running every day. I'm doing cardio. So a lot of people are asking me this question. And yes, I have lost more than 24 kilos. I have been training as hell, man. This is the actual way that I used to look before when I started broadcasting about the immigration phenomenon. This is how I looked. And a lot of people tend to forget that. Got a little bit chubbier because, just because I started eating a lot of tacos. But, it's just the way it is. A lot of people have asked me that. A lot of people have asked me how I felt in, how I felt in Central America, if I felt secure or insecure. And I felt, I felt secure. I was with one great journalist over there in Guatemala, who he is a great journalist, and he provided the best security areas. And I was really blessed to meet this man. And he's a great individual, great worker, great journalist, great photographer also. And I will be sharing his work. So a lot of people have asked me that I felt secure on Guatemala, and I said yes, I felt really secure. And a lot of people have asked me also, what was the most beautiful place that you visited in Central America that you have loved the most? Until now, I have visited only La Antigua, Guatemala, that I believe that is a beautiful, magical place. But the place that I really want to visit is El Salvador. And I think that one day I will meet him. Nayib Bukele, one day I will meet him. And when I meet him, that will be the moment. Great man, great leader, great character, great president. There's nobody else like him in the whole continent of America. No other leader is better than him. No other. Something is coming out of El Paso right now. Some information. But let me make it sure. Thank you so much for joining in. Buy me a coffee is on the bottom link. If you guys like to contribute to Independent Reporting and Travel Fund, has been an honor talking to you guys. I extended a lot, 32 minutes more, but this will be the end of this live feed. God bless you all. Stay safe. And like we always say, people, peace and love. Before I go, follow my partner, Real Anthony Agüero. Follow my colleague and brother, Ben Berquam, Frontline America with Ben Berquam. And also follow Real America's Voice News. Download the app, realamericasvoicenews.com. Also follow the Wendy Bell Radio Network, the best radio network in the United States of America. Stay safe, and like we always say, peace and love, because always your country's first. God bless.
We're in the middle of everything. They're carrying a child. Look at this. They're carrying a child. Look at this. This is horrible.
Ustedes tienen familia, somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes. Somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes.
Discúlpeme, oficial. They have encapsulated them. They're pushing. Now they're pushing. Some of them, they're escaping underneath to the ranches. Look at this, man. They're throwing rocks. They're hitting the National Guard officers. Throwing rocks over here.
Gosh, what a scene to see really unfolding here, and having them use that rope so that they're all able to stay together is really interesting to see all this happen, Oscar.
violence and homicides. Due to this factor, the military will get moved to Tijuana. Entry of San Isidro next door to the city of Tijuana, Mexico. But migrants looking for asylum from Ukraine arrived to the
roto, señores, las barreras. Ya no los pueden controlar. They have broke the barriers. They cannot control them.